Hi, good afternoon. I'm David Goon, the Windows Mobile track owner at TechEd Europe this year, and we are very fortunate to have with us Rob Tiffany from the Windows Mobile Group, who will tell us all about an exciting discovery that he's found recently. So, Rob, tell us a bit about yourself before we get started.
Sure. So I'm Rob Tiffany. I'm a mobility architect. I work in a group in worldwide services called the Mobile Business Enablement Group. And so I spend my time working with our largest global customers, flying around the world, helping them build big solutions, deploying Windows Mobile or other or Windows on tablets or things like that, laptops, and showing them how to build large scalable solutions to enable their mobile workforce. Could be route drivers, could be salespeople in the field, things like that. And so that's probably where I spend most of my time.
Indeed, excellent. So in the mobile space, we all know, it's starting to mature as year by year passes. So what's the most recent exciting discovery that you've made?
Sure. So it's kind of silly that it's a discovery, but we build lots of big solutions. We're connecting devices out in the field to servers, in data centers. But over time, you're right, as things have matured, people are wanting to get away from point solutions, kind of one-off solutions where we're building something new each time because that costs a lot of money. So there's a term that Gartner has called the Mobile Enterprise Application Platform. And there's a lot of things about it, but basically it's a combination of things from the server out to the devices and how they connect. That's a reusable platform, and there's a number of players in that space, and we're a player in that space too. And so from what I've seen, businesses, Gartner is thinking that through 2012, about 95% of businesses are going to start building mobile solutions on this mobile enterprise application or platform, or MEAP, M-E-A-P as they call it, instead of doing point solutions to get better ROI. It's a $1 billion space already, and so as more people go to that, they're looking for some kind of ROI savings through reuse.
So you've mentioned ROI twice, and Gartner analysis are always very important for people to see what am I getting out of this technology investment I'm going to make. So I've heard something being bandied about called the rule of three. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. So Gartner has the rule of three. If you really want to make this count, get some ROI savings, reuse is a big thing. So a point solution is when I build something one time and I only use it for one solution, and then I go to another one. So these platforms, so the rule of three is, Gartner says, you'll start seeing those savings once you've built 3 mobile solutions on top of this platform. You've done it 3 times. Now it's getting easier. The training starts to go down because you already know how to do it. You're reusing the same platform over and over again. The costs potentially can go down. Maybe you bought the server cows that you need the first time, and as you reuse it, those are not net new things you need to buy anymore. The development is the same, and so if you're a company with developers in-house, pretty soon they're not having to learn new things over and over, to do new things. It's just the same thing. So reusing the platform 3 or more times, being able to target 3 different types of mobile platforms or operating systems. So in our case, we can easily target with the same kind of functionality both Windows, like Windows 7, Vista, XP, running on laptops, tablets, netbooks. We can target CE devices, XP embedded, all those kind of things. And then we can target Windows Mobile, Windows phones, of course. And then the last thing is integration. Integration with back-end systems, big systems, SAP, Dynamics. The other 3, being able to integrate with 3 or more different back-end systems. So when you put all these together, companies start saving a lot of money.
Brilliant. So this mobile enterprise application platform, what's the Microsoft story? What's Windows Mobile got to say about it?
We do have a story, and there's a lot of key elements to it and how we all connect together. I think there's a bunch of capabilities, Gartner kind of talks about, you've got to be able to do this, 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 and this in order to qualify and say that. And we can definitely say that. One of them is the IDE. Gartner's like, you've got to have an IDE that allows you to build client code, server code, UI. Obviously, we have the best IDE in the world. It's Visual Studio. And it's right out of the box, all those .NET developers on the desktop and server automatically can become mobile developers, doing things for Windows phones, but also using the same code to build on laptops and netbooks for Windows 7. So Visual Studio, is that great IDE for a mobile solution, no matter what it is.
Definitely. So I'm looking down the list of the other areas that Gartner has highlighted, and I think for the rest of this interview, we'll go down those lists of items, and we'll see how Microsoft stacks up.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next one on the list is Enterprise Application Integration Tools. What do we have in that space?
We have great stuff. I think of the core engine of our MEAP platform is SQL Server, actually. And this might surprise a lot of people, but it actually has all the elements you need to do this. And so when you talk about enterprise integration, your solution may begin and end with SQL. Maybe you're already using SQL database to run your enterprise already. But sometimes SQL might just be a midpoint, a middle tier into something else. Maybe your actual application is running on DB2 on a mainframe, or running on SAP or Siebel or something like that. The great thing is we have those adapters, SQL Server Integration Services, SSIS. We have all these connectors, so it can talk to anything with ADO.NET, ODBC, Oracle, DB2, SAP, and then all the great WCF adapters for BizTalk, because BizTalk also has this great adapter framework. Well, guess what? Those adapters will work with SSIS as well. And so we have that connectivity that Gartner's looking for. And then we also have a tool to visually design it. The Business Intelligence Studio that you get with SQL Server. It lets you visually map out how you're going to make those connections to those back-end integration servers. So it's a great story there, and it's really easy to use.
Sounds comprehensive, definitely.
Yeah.
So the next item down, mobile applications or components.
Exactly. Sometimes that means, do you have a bunch of vertical apps you've already built that people can reuse, or do you have components? Here at Microsoft, we've built some solution accelerators for our customers. We've done 2 of them called the Mobile Line of Business Solution Accelerators. And so not only are they complete standalone solutions to build other things on, they're actually supply chain, but they have components that you can pick and choose and reuse to build other industry verticals for mobile to accelerate. And lots of companies and governments have used these solution accelerators and have built things that are supporting tens of thousands of users. So it's proven code, proven technology.
And it's a great way to jumpstart your development.
Definitely, definitely. Whether it's the biggest company or a beginner who's never done mobile development, it's a great jumpstart, no doubt about it.
Awesome. Next, Gartner talks about multi-platform support, and I think you touched a little bit about that when we were talking about ROI. Do you want to expand on that?
Right. If we only had something that worked with Windows or just worked with Windows Phone, it might be enough for some customers, but it might not be enough for others. And so the fact that we can use the same runtimes and synchronization, all these kind of tools, they all work the same way across those 3 platforms, it just gives you extra value. Some customers want to deploy lots of ruggedized Windows Phone devices to do work, but then they also come back and say, well, yeah, but for maybe a higher level manager, I think I want to give them a Slate tablet. But I want it to work the exact same way with our mobile middleware, and I want the code to be pretty close to the same. And so the fact that we can confidently deliver that means that they're not rewriting a lot of extra code or having to have a netbook talk to the back-end server differently than a phone does. It all works exactly the same.
Okay. Now this one's, I'm sure we have a solution here for mobile application runtime.
We sure do. It's called .NET, in case you haven't heard. And so obviously we have .NET on the desktop supporting Vista, XP, 7. And then on the devices, we have a smaller version called the .NET Compact Framework that's been around since almost the beginning of the decade. And it's run on the very first Pocket PCs to the Windows phones today. And so it's a consistent solution for building those mobile apps.
And it's well known as well. A lot of developers can get on the platform right from day one because they've used it before.
Definitely. Think about how many .NET developers are out there in the world. So it's not something new that they have to learn, because with lots of other tools for mobile, it's a proprietary language or proprietary tool set that they've never seen before. And so the learning curve, and the ramp up time is longer. So we definitely are in good shape there.
Brilliant. So the next item is really more to the practical day-to-day running of these mobile solutions. So management tools is what Gartner wanting to know about next.
Certainly, right. It's one thing to build a solution, you got to manage it after you've built it. So, one of the, there's device management. We have tools like System Center Configuration Manager that manages desktops, servers, laptops, and it also manages devices too, the Windows phones. We also have System Center Mobile Device Manager that has extra functionality for Windows Mobile 6.1 and above devices for even more policies. So we have the software distribution to push those apps out there, to update them, the policies to lock down the devices, make sure they're secure. I can encrypt a Windows Phone device using our OMA DM technology, either coming from Mobile Device Manager or Exchange, and I can use BitLocker to lock down those netbooks and tablets that are running Windows 7. So we have a great solution around that security and that management there.
Okay, you've already touched on security, and that is a topic that's very near and dear to Microsoft with the Trustworthy Computing Initiative that started so many years ago. So the last item, which I think is extremely important, is security.
Sure.
So what else do we have in that space?
So everything about it's got to be secure for our customers to have peace of mind. So data at rest, data in transit, all throughout that space. So I know I'm imagining that I've got a whiteboard in front of me, but I don't. But I can see the system in my mind from the device out here all the way to the server. So when you're on the device, yeah, if it's a Windows 7 or Vista, you lock down and encrypt the thing with BitLocker. We have policies that can encrypt the device. If it's Windows Phone, in addition to the .NET being our mobile runtime, the other key element to the story is SQL Server Compact Edition, which is our embedded database that runs anywhere. That's a critical element, and it's got its own built-in security, RC4, like a RSA 128 encryption. So the database is encrypted on the device, so you can use crypto APIs on any platform to go all the way up to AES 256 encryption if you want. In transit, it could be over VPN, it could be over SSL, going into ISA server or Threat Management Gateway or UAG. And so that could be a VPN, or it could be a reverse proxy to then expose our servers. So the other key element is the sync between the devices. And so SQL Server and SQL Server Compact already have synchronization technology built in right out of the box. It's not a separate product that you have to buy like you do with other solutions out there. And so it works. It's designed for poor latency networks. It does intelligent restarts and retries. And so it's secure. Then we know about the security in SQL Server and Windows Server. The other part, too, though, is when you're integrating with back-end packages, like SAP or other things. How do you secure that transit there from SQL Server integration services to those? Well, luckily, we can encrypt those packages, and we can digitally sign them as well. So we have a security story that passes all the way through at every tier of the system to give the customers the peace of mind that they need.
Excellent, an end-to-end story.
Definitely.
So it sounds like we've got answers for every item that Gartner is actually considering critical to this mobile enterprise application platform.
Definitely.
So my last question to you would be, what's it all mean for the Windows Mobile developer or architect today looking at Microsoft technologies to implement an MEAP?
I think the great thing is it's something that you already know. It's not this unknown solution from some small company you've never heard of. It turns out it's hiding in plain sight. It was right under your nose all along. The skills you have with SQL Server, the skills you have with .NET, the skills you have on Windows Mobile, the built-in sync. I mean, our built-in sync doesn't even require you to write almost any code at all. It just works out of the box. It's designed for inherently unreliable networks, which is what you want. You don't want something that's built for only great scenarios. It's built for bad scenarios, which is what our customers face out there in the real world. So it's a solution you have. It's IIS, part of the sync. It's Active Directory. It's ISA or whatever, DMZ type scenario there. So I think that's the great takeaway is Microsoft developers and IT pros, they already know what the solution is. I just don't think they've ever seen it put together this way. And so it's more of telling a story and packaging it all together. But when you do, it comes to light and you see, yeah, we have the solution already. It's not a proprietary box that you stand up in a data center. It's stuff that most of our customers already have. And so it's a great story.
And the whole is, of course, greater than the sum of the parts.
Yes, definitely.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
Thanks very much for sharing this with us today, Rob.
Thank you.